Okay, so let's look at this chart here. It's the Swiss franc Japanese yen on the 60-minute time frame. We can see a clear uptrend here. Okay, we broke above this area with a lot of strength from this buyer. But then when we got to this area, it started looking weird, this chart, right? So what I would like you to do is to pause the video and look at this from the overall perspective. Just mark your breach and the guy who started. And after that, start looking at the market conditions you see here. Do you have a trend? Do you have a range? Even if you look at the smaller perspective, do you have ranges? Where are they? And how would you mark it? Do you have channels? Do you have trends? A mix of both? Just pause the video and think about these questions for a bit. Okay, so this one I started to say that this actually has some weird looking chart here, okay? So we went above at this area, we breached above this, this high here. We went above, then we crashed. So at this point, we don't really know if this is just a faker. But then it holds above, okay? And it goes even higher before it crashes down. So we had a new breach at this area. We have our guys started here, okay, for the looks of it, because this is so fast at this area that this is the same push, okay? So this push here is the same push all the way up there, okay? So this is the guy who started. And when we get to this point, we go below the breach line and we start challenging this guy, okay? And if we are looking at this mini picture, okay, we are still holding below this bridge line, okay? If we were marking the bridge line here or here, well, doesn't really matter, but apparently it's trying to hold below this bridge line, and even from the smaller perspective, it seems to be below, and we are challenging this guy. But now we have some kind of a range here, okay? But if we were looking at the mini picture, we seem to be like at this area, which we go below, turn back, below again, go slightly below, and buyer kicks in aggressively all the way to the breach line, okay, as it challenging this guy. But then it holds there. Like, why the hell did this buyer stop in that area? It's weird, right? It was so aggressive. Why didn't he continue? It stopped. Then it turns back again, aggressively, challenges again the guy who started, and nothing happens. It almost like ranges here, right? But it's a small range. It's not from this time frame. Okay, this is small details. Okay, we shouldn't be looking at these small things here. Then buyer shoots up again, and then it breaches below, okay? Apparently, it breaches below at this area. So we would look at this as a trend, right? So we would have changed the territory, but then when we breach actually below this area, we come back. Then it breaches again and comes back again. So from the bigger picture, we are still looking at buys, not sells, right? Even though it looks like the mini picture, it's still selling, but the bigger picture is still buying, okay? We can't mess this out, okay? It's still buying. But right now, what we should be looking for is something weird is happening here at this market, because we have these lows here. They're getting lower and lower and lower. Okay. Okay. What about the stops here? It's the same. Lower and lower and lower. Okay. So at this area, we can see kind of a mini range here. But from here, we start to have a channel-like structure. Okay. Just don't mind about these tops here going out. Don't forget that channels, they work more or less like ranges. So you can have this areas where it goes even further than than the lines you trace. So this is something that can happen, but this is kind of channeling inside this area. But at the same time, we can't forget that we had this breach here, okay? But if we are looking at this bigger channel, I would like you to pause the video and just look at this area and try to figure out, okay, if I was looking at this as a channel, this is a downward channel, but we are in a buy market, so we shouldn't be looking for sells, right? We should be looking for buys. So how would we buy this? Because this is channeling down, but what we are interested in is in buys, because our territory is still a buyer. Just pause the video, think about this carefully for a second, try to see how could we trade this with this information. Okay, so there's two things to this, okay? If we are looking at this channel it would be for the sell side. But we are not interested because we are still looking at this for a buy from the bigger picture. So we have two pictures here from the channel, and from the channel we want to pick up this from the lower hand of the channel, okay? From this one or this one, okay? This is the only areas we know for sure that this channel is alive. But at the same spot, this here is also a breach, right? And this is a mini guy who started here at this top here. Oh, sorry. This area here is the mini guy that tried to push the market down. Okay. This guy pushed the market down, and this one tried also. So it's questionable if this guy is the same guy as from there. It probably is. Okay. So as we go above this area and challenge that guy again, nothing happens. Okay. So this is already a clue. If we were looking at this from a trend perspective and not a channel. If we are looking at this as a channel perspective, we should be picking up from here. Okay. As we revert here, okay, this hardly tests. Okay. As we revert from here, we could try to pick this up from this bottoms. Okay. The small little candles here. If we look at this as this perspective, we could eventually pick up from here, but it is risky, okay? Because we are below this guy already, and we don't know if this is going to go so high. So our best way to approach this is not to go inside this channel, because this channel is going this way, okay? And this is not the way we want to go. So the best bet would be to wait for this channel to break to the upside and hold. Okay? And it's the best bet from this perspective and from this miniature perspective from this guy who started here. So this would be the best approach to get this buy. Okay? Because this buy will eventually work later, but it works. Okay? So we wouldn't be really picking this up from a channel perspective, but from a break from this mini channel. Okay? I hope you like this example. Cheers.